Foster parents, what made you decide to adopt? When my wife and I walked into the group home, we weren't expecting to meet a 10-year-old with 17 notebooks, but that's exactly what happened when we met Ezra. Ezra sat at a corner table, writing in a composition book. The caseworker explained he had two younger brothers, Miles and Jonah, ages 7 and 5. They'd been separated 8 months ago when their previous foster family said 3 boys was too much. Ezra hadn't spoken to his brothers since. What broke us was learning why Ezra wrote everything down. In his last 3 placements, adults made promises they didn't keep, so Ezra started documenting every promise, every conversation, every lie. He had notebooks full of broken promises, dated and timestamped. The caseworker said Ezra refused to believe his brothers were okay unless he saw proof, so he'd been teaching himself to write letters, practicing over and over, hoping someone would mail them. We decided to foster all 3 for a trial weekend. Ezra arrived with a garbage bag of clothes and a backpack full of notebooks. He immediately pulled one out and wrote, "Arrived Friday, 4:47 p.m. Said weekend visit verified." Miles and Jonah ran around exploring. Ezra followed them, writing down every room, every corner, mapping the house like he was planning an escape route. At dinner, my wife said, "You can have seconds if you want." Ezra wrote it down. When Miles reached for more chicken, Ezra checked his notebook, nodded, and let him. He was fact-checking us in real time. That night, we found Ezra sleeping in front of his brother's door with his notebook stacked beside him like a barrier. When I asked if he wanted his own bed, he wrote, "Need to make sure they're still here in the morning." The turning point came Sunday morning. Jonah wet the bed. He started crying immediately. Ezra jumped up, arms spread, positioning himself between Jonah and us. He pulled out his notebook, flipping through pages frantically, looking for something. My wife knelt down slowly. "Accidents happen. Let's get clean sheets together." She didn't move toward Jonah until Ezra lowered his arms. Ezra stared at her, then wrote in his notebook, "Said accidents okay. Sunday, 7:23 a.m. Verify later." That weekend became a month. We enrolled in family therapy. Ezra started a new notebook, labeling it New House Rules. Every promise we made went in there. Every time we kept one, he'd put a check mark. Every dinner time, every pickup time, every "I'll be right back," documented and verified. Miles started laughing again. Jonah stopped flinching when we moved too fast, but Ezra kept writing. Then their birth father appeared, demanding custody. He'd been released early from prison. Ezra's notebooks came out immediately. He started a new one. Father return documentation. The father missed his first supervised visit. Ezra wrote it down, showed the caseworker. Second visit, the father showed up drunk. Ezra documented everything, timestamps and all. Before the third visit, he handed me a notebook. "In case I don't come back," he said. "So you remember Miles is allergic to strawberries, and Jonah can't sleep without a light." That's when I knew. These were our kids. We were going to fight. The custody battle lasted 7 months. Ezra documented every court date, every missed visit, every broken promise his father made. When the judge asked him what he wanted, he presented 3 notebooks of evidence. We won full custody on a Tuesday. Ezra wrote it in every single one of his notebooks. Then he asked if we had a safe place where he could keep them, in case I need to prove this really happened. We cleared a shelf in the office. 17 old notebooks. 1 new one labeled Forever Family Evidence. Next came the question we didn't expect. "Can I stop writing everything down now?" Ezra asked. "Or will you forget your promises if I do?" My wife pulled out her own notebook. She'd been keeping one too, documenting every promise we made to him. "I've got backup copies," she said. "We won't forget." Ezra cried for the first time since we met him. Last week, Miles had a school play. Ezra didn't bring a notebook. He just watched, cheering when Miles remembered his lines. Jonah sat on my lap the whole time. When it ended, Ezra turned to us and said, "This was a good memory. I don't need to write it down to keep it." This morning, I found Ezra teaching his brothers how to write in journals. Not documentation. Stories. Made-up adventures where 3 brothers saved the world together. Miles wrote about a dragon. Jonah drew pictures in the margins. Ezra wrote the ending. And they lived in the same house forever. The end. This is not a lie. He looked up at me. "Dad, is it okay if I keep this one just for fun?" That was the first time he'd called me Dad. Sometimes people ask what made us decide to adopt. Truth is, a kid with 17 notebooks full of broken promises taught us what keeping your word really means.